My 2026 goals, how I set them, why they matter, and how I stay committed throughout the year. Welcome back to SugarMamma's Fireplay, the podcast where we ignite your financial independence, fuel your early retirement goals and dreams, and build a life of true, authentic, harmonic wealth. I am your host, Canna Campbell. I'm a financial planner, I'm an author, keynote speaker, and a mother of three. But I'm also someone who's learnt the hard way, the confronting way, that goals only work when they're designed to actually support your real life, not compete with it. Now, in my last Fireplay episode, which I published last Monday, I shared the most powerful goal-setting insights that I took personally from a 2.5-hour podcast episode of Diary of a CEO as he interviewed Chris Williamson. And I shared the ideas around focus, effort, the systems needed, the power of consistency, and of course, removing the overload. And today, what I want to do is show you how I actually apply these ideas in real life as a busy working mother. Because it's one thing to actually talk about goals and goal settings in theory, but it's another to actually sit down, lock your goals in and commit to them and live them every single day as you intentionally and proactively work on them to make sure that they actually flourish and they're not just a flaky wish or a dream, but a reality in all of our lives. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you how I set my goals, why my year doesn't actually end on the 31st of December, but the 1st of December, 5 goals that I've committed to for 2026, and exactly how I plan to work towards these goals. That is obviously achieving every single one of them as best I can without burning out. And for the record, this is not about perfection. It's about intention, it's about the systems, and it's about self-respect. So let us begin. Now, the first thing I want to explain is this. My year ends on December 1, not December 31st. And I do this intentionally, very intentionally. I know myself well enough to know that by mid-December, I'm tired, I'm really cranky. The kids are just done, they've had enough, they've run out of steam. The school events, like the festivals, the performances, all the activities, the barbecues, the catch-ups, all those school events just explode. And then you've got Christmas, the Christmas prep, the gifts, the catch-ups, the food preparation. So any spare time that I think I might have to maybe finish off my goals or give them one last hurrah completely disappears. So what I have learned is instead of pretending I'll magically finish my goals, and not just magically, unrealistically think I will finish my goals in late December, I draw a really hard line for myself. For me, December is actually about rest. It's about reflection. It's about reviewing what worked and what didn't, and what I can let go of next year or what I really need to ramp up on. And it's about letting ideas settle. You've got the time and the space to just sit on things and think about. There's no pressure to just, quickly start on the next thing. And quietly deciding what I really want to chase for the following year so that come the 1st of January, I am ready to launch. And I already know what I want and I'm already planning about how I'm going to achieve those particular things. And I waste no time at all, as often people still in January are scrambling to work out what they actually want to achieve. And I've already hit the ground running and I'm already working on achieving those goals. So I use December as a very precious, sacred time of the year. And it's really nice to actually switch off and, guilt-free and just enjoy living in December with all its madness. And this really does align perfectly with one of the Diary of a CEO themes from the podcast I mentioned last week. And that is planning for life happening. Goals don't fail. It's the unrealistic timelines that do. Ending the year early, it forces me to be honest about my time so that I just don't even think about wasting it. It's precious. I also really respect my energy and I design goals that I can actually commit to. All right, the next thing I wanted to share with you is why I only set 5 goals. This is the second rule that I really do live by, and it takes a lot of self-discipline for me to just stick to 5. So I cap my goals at 5. There are no exceptions. However, I will admit I do know how to condense my goals. I used to be this queen of 15 goals, sometimes even more, and having these endless lists and feeling like this rush of inspiration and motivation, but just also at the same time completely scattered and all over the shop. But what I learned a few years ago is that overload completely kills momentum and doesn't serve me whatsoever. So now I choose 5 goals, and I design them to be quite broad, but still incredibly clear and very intentional. And this directs me, back to the Diary of a CEO episode again. And that was the insight about removing before you add. Put a tool down before you pick a new one up. So my goals are in containers, which I really like and I find very sort of easy and satisfying. But each one often includes multiple behaviors, habits, or even outcomes, but they are unified under a single intention. For example, one of my goals is around my health. Now, that sounds quite vague and flaky, but is actually very detailed behind it. And that detail actually includes my knee rehab, getting some specific blood tests, particularly around my hormone levels and my minerals, doing my training, my normal everyday cardio and strength training, and of course, allowing time for rest and recovery and energy management. So 5 goals really does force clarity in my life, and clarity creates progress. The next important goal setting aspect that I really want to share is my 5 pillars of harmonic wealth. And I actually got this inspiration, about 20 years ago from a book called, ironically, Harmonic Wealth. Now, my goals are never just about money. And I know that might sound weird being a financial podcast and me as a financial planner. But for me, these 5 goals sit across what I call the pillars of authentic wealth. And that is financial, physical, emotional, intellectual, which also includes obviously professional, and then relationships. Now, they are never perfectly balanced, and that is absolutely okay. The only thing that I look out for is that there is always movement and flow across these 5 pillars of authentic wealth. But having all 5 representing a different component of my own personal growth, it helps ensure that I'm actually moving and evolving as a whole person and not just building financial wealth and letting everything else fall apart on the sideline. Seeing, for example, my health suffer because I'm so focused on, paying off our mortgage or investing or whatever the goal may be, which is something I think is really important to have your finger on the pulse of looking at your life as a whole and the important pillars that you really value and how you want to uphold them and manage them in harmony with flow as best you can. And this really does link back to that idea of return on investment, return on effort from the Diary of a CEO podcast last Monday. The best goals don't just grow your bank balance or your share portfolio or your superannuation portfolio. They grow you deep inside, where you are almost unrecognizable from where you start on the 1st of January and where you end on the 1st of December. The next thing I want to share with you is this commitment rule. Once my goals are set, they are locked and loaded. Yes, I allow within reason some tweaking, adjustments to the timelines, and refining the strategies. But under no circumstances am I allowed to quit. And because of that commitment rule, it forces me to really make sure I have chosen goals that I am 100% sure about. They're goals that I really care about achieving, goals that I'm going to feel really proud, working on those goals, going through the growth behind those goals, and hopefully completing those goals. And it really does make me operate from a place of authenticity and honesty and stay in integrity within myself. And for me, the way that I think and look at quitting, it's actually not about failure. It actually stems back to choosing the wrong goal in the first place to begin with. So really investing time to make sure you are 100% sure, you are 100% certain these are the goals that you're going to take seriously and you're willing to sacrifice, dedicate, and commit for the next 12 or 11 months, if you follow my formula, and making sure that they really happen, and you're excited about the growth and challenges that will come your way as you work on those goals. The next thing I want to share with you is my daily anchor, and that's really about the habit system of my goals and reading my goals in particular. So every single morning, yes, 7 days a week, at 5 a.m., I get up and I read my goals. It takes me literally a couple of minutes. And I have a beautiful ritual where I make myself a cup of coffee at home, sit on the sofa with the dogs, and just read my goals. It takes literally 2 minutes. And this is not because I lack discipline and I need to read my goals. It's because it reconnects me to my why. Why am I working on these goals? Why are they so important to me? And it filters the distractions and the temptations which naturally come my way as they do in everybody else's lives and daily activities. And it really helps me spot the opportunities. I'm thinking about that goal. I'm thinking about how can I achieve that goal quickly? How can I achieve that goal efficiently? And it's amazing just the way that your mindset and what you're actually doing, you start to see things that you wouldn't normally see. And you can actually jump on those opportunities and actually leapfrog and have faster, more efficient success throughout the year. And it also really helps me keep my central nervous system calm and focused. This is a system. It's not actually a motivation. The system is what builds the motivation. And again, this is another insight and crossover with Diary of a CEO. Turn your goals into systems if you want to see them flourish. I don't just rely on willpower. Yes, willpower is really important, but behind making my goals happen is a structure. It's a habit system. It's got strong rituals, all of which I respect and honor because I know that they will help transform my life, my year, into very different outcomes and results and feelings of pride, self-worth, and confidence. So now I want to share with you my 5 goals for the year. Goal number 1, and that is to invest in our home. Now, this goal actually evolved at the very last minute, and I will admit it was inspired by the Diary of a CEO. So originally, this goal was all about trying to, make some extra lump sum repayments towards the mortgage that Tom and I have on our family home. But reflecting on the concept of return on investment, I have a bit of a wake-up call and a bit of a realization. So right now, I'm actually going to focus, instead of making extra lump sum mortgage repayments, I'm actually going to look at improving the comfort and the livability of our home because there's actually a better return of effort and value there. So this includes installing skylight, bring in more lightness to our home, improving the decks that are starting to sort of fall apart. We're going to completely rip them up and put beautiful stone pavers down instead. We're going to be doing work on our garden, and fingers crossed, if I stick to my systems and my habits and my rituals, hopefully renovate the kids' bathroom. I'm approaching this slowly. I'm not trying to do everything all at once. I'm just focusing on one area at a time. I've put together a vision board with lots of beautiful images to help me. I'm also getting, lots of quotes. I'm researching all the different ideas and solutions and costs. And I'm learning about where it's worth saving and where I actually do need to invest. And this is most definitely not rushed spending. It's actually intentional investment. Goal number 2, and that is to invest $10,000 into the $1,000 project. As I shared with you in my previous episode, I think it was about 6 weeks ago that I published it, I managed to put an extra $100,000 off our mortgage. This was hard work. The key behind this of $100,000, which is a huge amount of money, I still can't believe I actually managed to do it, but it was really very much about consistency. Even doing $100 transfers, $300 transfers, $50 transfers, and then obviously lump sums like bonuses or tax refunds. These all sort of help pay off and get me there. But honestly, I got to the finish line exhausted. Not burnt out, but exhausted. So the original plan last year was to put a debt recycling strategy in place where that $100,000 was taken by the bank and then it was made available through a separate investment loan of $100,000, which I'd then go and put in the $1,000 project. When it came to pulling the trigger, something happened, something in my gut came up and I pressed pause. And it was a combination of the talk around change in interest rates, something in my gut, and just the timing of things that were going on both personal life, but also financially as well. So instead of forcing it, I asked myself, how do I keep the momentum going with this goal of investing in the $1,000 project, but take away the stress and pressure? So what I've done is, I guess, downsized this goal, if you'd like to say. So I'm committing to investing $10,000 into the $1,000 project, not through debt recycling yet, but through my good old-fashioned side hustling. So selling clothes on Depop. I've actually already made about $400 or $500 already. I'm selling pieces of furniture that we don't need, they're cluttering our home or they don't work with the style. I'm also going to be taking on extra work over the weekends, and I've got a little list, a hit list of all different sort of small side hustles that can help make that, $10,000 and put that money into my $1,000 project portfolio, which for the record is worth over $365,000, which I'm really proud of. And, this aligns beautifully with, again, the Diary of a CEO about the importance of consistency over intensity. Progress really does matter. Even when it feels slow and frustrating and boring, you're still chipping away, and that's something to feel really proud of. And you never know, as you keep chipping away, there could be an incredible breakthrough just around the corner. So keep tapping, keep chipping, keep trying with all of your goals. All right, goal number 3, my health and my energy. So as I mentioned, I have these pillars in my life, about this harmonious wealth. This one in particular is a non-negotiable. So for me, and as everyone else, my energy really affects my ability to focus and concentrate, my mood, and even my mood swings, which Tom will confirm, my sense of efficiency in getting work done, before 5 p.m., before school pickup. It impacts my parenting skills. I tend to be a lot crankier and fly off the handle, with my kids when I don't have the right levels of energy. And of course, my decision making, I get incredible decision making fatigue over the simplest things, like even ordering Tupperware containers and plates and glasses and things like that. It's really hard for me. So to help make sure that these goals happen around my health and well-being, I've actually already gone ahead and booked all the doctors and specialist appointments. I've already done the blood tests, got the rehab booked in for my knee. I've already got the rehab habit system in place with my rehab for my knee. I've got my structured gym days in my routine, and I've built a ritual so I don't decide to do the exercise, to do the meditation, to do the reading. I just do it without actually having to think about it. And this is about protecting, my central nervous system so that I actually show up as my best. And that means my best. It means looking and feeling calm, rational, but also reliable to you, to my family, to my friends. Goal number 4 is about relationships, and this one is deeply intentional. Having more time for connection, particularly one-on-one time. So I have locked in time with Tom to have just time, Tom and I talking with each other. I have locked in one-on-one time with each of my 3 children, Rocco, Apple, and Tiger. And they're not 4-hour episodes. They're between half an hour to 2 hours with each child. And with each child alone, so they don't have to, fight with their siblings for my attention. And this includes date nights, and it includes those micro moments in between activities, in between, taking kids to swimming lessons or taking kids to nippers or, taking kids to those extracurricular activities. It's where it can be with each family member. Also, of course, my beautiful friends, where phones are put away, they're in the bag, and it's just about listening and connecting and actually playing, learning to laugh again and to have fun. And they are locked in my diary because when I have something scheduled in, it gets honoured. And again, it's a great reminder that money is there to support connection, never to replace it. Goal number 5, and that is around my intellectual, professional and emotional growth. Now, this pillar very much does feed everything else. My anchor habit, reading every morning at 5 a.m. At night, I am completely shattered. I am brain dead. I am ready just to close my eyes and pass out. However, in the morning, I have so much energy. I am curious. I am ready to seize the day. I'm bursting at the seams with motivation and inspiration, and I'm feeling incredibly open-minded. So I capitalize on that. And, this is where I do my goals. I read my goals, but I also read. I do my readings in the morning and do the type of reading that really does fuel my work. So at the moment, I'm reading Valuable by Roger Montgomery, which is a great book around finance. But I'm reading things, including self-help. I'm a self-help junkie. Growth that helps fill my cup. And this is not about hustling, trying to be a better investor or, be the perfect person or the perfect parent. It's actually about nourishment. And of course, behind this is my habit system, where I know that missing one day, it's okay. That's forgivable. Missing 2 days in a row, that's actually a red flag that danger is ahead and that I need to wake up, step up, and get back in control if I want this year to be my best year ever. So there are my goals, and more importantly, the systems that I have built already behind them to help give them the best chance to succeed and to succeed efficiently and effectively, upholding my energy and my values all at the same time. Now, if there is one message that I want you to take from this episode, it is this. You do not need more goals. You just need clearer ones with more definition, ones that are designed around your real life, your energy levels, and of course, your values. Goals aren't about pressure, they're about direction and deep purpose, and the growth and the journey and the adventure as you work on each single one. And when they're done well, they don't actually drain you, they actually steady you. If you would like me to make another special podcast episode where I share with you how I maintain my mindset and my motivation levels and how I actually track these goals, in particular the financial goals, and what I do when things go off course, which I expect they will at some stage, naturally, and of course how I stay consistent without guilt, without pressure, without self-destruction even, let me know in the rating and the reviews of this podcast, because I will keep an eye out for all of your feedback, all of your comments. And if you do want this episode, I will make sure I action this immediately for you so that you have this episode fresh in the year. Now, in the meantime, thank you so much for listening to today's episode on SugarMamma's Fireplay. It's been an honor to connect with you this morning. I'm Canna Campbell, and as always, keep that financial fire burning bright within. This is SugarMamma's Fireplay.